Flame Talk Radio. We were hoping it wouldn't be us when they roll out his computers. But they haven't done that yet. No, they're just blaming Rush Limbaugh. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, it's not only CNN pushing taking our guns or Felipe Calderon of Mexico. Rupert Murdoch, he has tweeted in support for taking our guns. Now we know why Fox will never defend our Second Amendment. There you go. Rupert Murdoch, we had to do something about gun control. Police licenses okay for hunting, rifle, and pistol for anyone without criminal or psych record. No more. There you go. They already have all that. So there's Rupert Murdoch wants our guns. Thank you, Rupert Murdoch. And the Huffington Post is very proud of you. George Soros is very, very proud of you right now. During the last break, guess who ran in here breathing heavy? Aaron Dykes has just discovered, the guy that put out the Democratic memo about how great a new Oklahoma would be, talking about how great mass shootings are to get our guns. He was breathing heavily. He's going to have that on the nightly news tonight. He's going to be hosting it, but I'm going to do a special report. I get so excited the first few hours I can hardly even talk sometimes. I'm going to try to condense like a laser beam, shoot a special report tonight that'll be on the news with Aaron, just going over all these points. Wow, this makes my head spin right now, but Aaron just found some bombshell info. He'll get it to Watson, who's got an article coming out very, very soon. Right now, let's go to El Ray in Texas. El Ray, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me. I just called to ask if you'd ever heard of the Project on National Security Reform.
Yes, I have. Isn't that a Council on Foreign Relations thing?
Yes, sir. I'd never heard it mentioned before, and I wanted you to know it's CIA, CFR, RAND Corporation, Bank of America, IBM.
No. Basically, it's everything they've already done. The next phase, total police state, checkpoints everywhere, everything you do being surveilled, no jobs except being in prison, running a prison, or working for a defense contractor, forced inoculations, hell on earth, weather modification, just a nightmare system.
Pretty much. I just wanted to know if you had heard of it, and they're working with state and local governments and law firms and American Bar Association, and that was... No, it's the total takeover of every facet of life. The threat fusion centers, everything. Yes, we've actually covered that before, but I'm glad you raised it. Awesome. I'd only seen it in the Washington Post, and then I just had one other thing I wanted to ask about, and that's the Economic Club of New York.
Yes, I've heard of that. That's another elitist kind of a private CFR meets Federal Reserve organizing house.
Yeah, on the site, they proudly thank Rockefeller Centennial Society for running the program. And the last thing that kind of ties it all together, I actually work at an elementary school, and I see a lot there, but is the, quote, whole of government approach that they're pushing. And I just wanted to mention that. And the Project on National Security Reform's website's pnsr.org. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you. All I know is we need guns because of crazy people like the bozo killer, who is more like the bozo Patsy. And as days go by, just it's all coming together. Aaron just ran in here. You know that guy who wrote the memo to the Democrat fundraisers talking about staged events or Oklahoma City helping us? I found his quotes on things, how they're going to get our guns with mass shootings and how that'll help Obama reconnect with the public. I mean, I'm glad he was, because that's how you're supposed to act when you find stuff like that, is, because that's what I do around here is, I'm glad that people are concerned about stuff like this. You're supposed to get upset about it because it's all there. They all think you're idiots. The only reason they get away with all this is because the average person is unconscious and just wants to go home and watch television. Folks, that ain't living. That is not living, okay? We are analyzing these psych warfare social engineers, and we're on their tail. All right, coming up in this hour, we're going to play some clips of people talking about multiple shooters Smoke bombs or tear gas coming from different sides, someone else letting the shooter in. Now we've seen who the media is saying is the shooter. With Bozo the clown hair, everybody said that was men with black masks on who looked like police officers. That's what the eyewitnesses all over local news said. But now he comes into court today not knowing who he is, with all these facial tics, eyes wide open, clearly bombed out of his brain. And I hope someday they don't commit a mass shooting and then just roll me out and I suddenly can't talk. And nobody asked, is he drugged? Nobody asked, hey, maybe somebody else did it. Maybe he's mentally ill. I mean, I could go commit a crime, get a homeless person who's mentally ill in the car with me. They're all over Austin, where I live, thrown out of mental institutions. And then put a bunch of weapons in the car, commit a crime, and then let the homeless person take the blame. And that's what Operation Northwoods, right here in my hot little hand from the National Security Archive. This is at the Library of Congress. You can just look up PDF of National Security Archive. And it talks about how to commit mass shootings and then how to even frame patsies. And who do they recommend? In the Gladio documents. This just talks about framing patsies. Mentally ill people. People with criminal records you just frame. And now we got a guy who can't talk. The police said he was flopping around the last 2 days, screaming and spitting at everyone, screaming, I'm the Joker, I'm the Joker. Now he can't talk and is smiling and laughing and then obviously snapping in and out of things. And, of course, he's on a bunch of psychotropic drugs, which can make you do this on your own. Just like Sergeant Bales, who went over there and killed 19 people in Afghanistan. And they're going to try to put him on trial. He's not mentally ill. He's going to go to the electric chair, I guess. Now, here's the deal. We are collating all these clips right now. The admissions, even Glenn Beck covering it a year and a half ago, that top White House advisors in memos and in restricted memos only to top donors, like when Obama's privately with a bunch of donors that give him $1 million or whatever, billionaires and people, he says, yeah, don't worry, we're going to get these bitter clingers that cling to their Bibles and guns. We're going to get them. Well, to their people, and Paul Watson's doing an article on this right now because it hit me this morning, they said a new Oklahoma City, a new 9/11 or some big event will let Obama reconnect with the public and be seen as a hero. By the way, you watch. The polls aren't up yet, but he went to Colorado yesterday and today. I'm guaranteeing you'll see tomorrow. They'll be out by tomorrow, maybe even tonight. I predict 10.5 bounce in an index of polls. Some will be higher. I predict a 10-point bounce for Obama. Watch. Now, in his office, Aaron Dykes is in there. He's found clips of the Democratic operatives bragging on Chris Matthews after the Gifford shooting that this is going to help Obama reconnect and this is going to help shut up the birthers. Now, remember, you got Robert Shapiro on the Financial Times of London saying, we need a new Oklahoma City or 9/11. If he doesn't get that, he's not going to win. They come 1 inch from saying they'll stage one. They just say, man, this would sure be nice. That's why last night I thought, and this morning it really hit me even stronger, we had to get the makers of A Noble Lie, Oklahoma City, 1995, on the show because this is the only modern film exposing the false flag. And just like Fast and Furious, they've admitted Fast and Furious was done to blame the Second Amendment. CBS, ABC, I've read those headlines there on air. You can look it up. But other than that, this is the most proven false flag where we've got the cops, the eyewitnesses, the people that worked in the building. I mean, we know who did it. We know how they did it. The film is so important. And guess what? It's the very same crew now running Obama. So that's why I'm saying we've got to look at this from the perspective of who's the number one suspect. If somebody who looks like they're 65 years old with a long gray beard and blue eyes robs a bank, the police know to see, are there any bank robbers paroled that fit this description? Because they normally have priors. And they go, you bet. John Doe got released 2 months ago. This is his MO. He looks just like it. They try to go find where he is. They discover where he's at. They get a search warrant. They bust in. They find the money right there. You go after people who do this over and over again. And let me tell you who does it over and over again. I covered this for 2 hours on the Sunday radio show. These people do. Okay? And not just our government. Other governments do this over and over again. Operation Gladio included not just blowing up bus stations and school buses and train stations. This has been declassified by the Italian government and others. They would shoot up movie theaters and blame it on their political enemy, and even grab a communist or somebody they didn't like and drug them up, put them on trial, put them in prison, or kill them. So, again, I've seen this over and over again. I thought I'd get two gentlemen on because specifically they've been warning on my show and their own radio show and everywhere, look for this. And I remember, and so this is homework for them because I know they're busy, but I'm even more busy. They've been on probably 6-7 times the last 6 months since their film came out. Well, where we said, get the film, they're going to stage new terror attacks to get the UN treaty passed, the rest of it to put TSA on the streets. And we all talked about what type of attack. And we all said highways, police stations, federal centers that have daycare centers because they like to kill kids, that gets more effect, movie theaters, shopping malls. Now, I'm so busy, I don't have time to go back to 6, 7, 8 interviews and find all the places we said that, but we did. So that's powerful to get people's attention. We're not just saying this now. We said this before. Now, I'm going to go to Chris Emery and Holland van der Nieuwenhof. They join us. Van der Nieuwenhof is a native of Oklahoma, formerly served U.S. Marine Corps as a rifle squad leader. His broadcasting career started in 2007 as co-host of Radio Free Oklahoma, and later as co-host of the Free Mind Report, heard on a bunch of stations. Holland is also a writer and producer of A Noble Lie, Oklahoma City 95, and the first full-length documentary examining the Oklahoma City bombing in the light of the new and suppressed evidence that proves the official story is a myth. Available at InfoWarsShop.com, I should add. I said, get the film out, it'll save lives. It may stop them from staging new attacks, or it'll have people informed who will be watching when it happens, like our witnesses that were on the flight that saw the government get Mutalib on the plane, the underwear bomber. Chris Emery is producer of Noble Lie as well and has been working for decades to expose the globalist. And they join us right now. It's the winner of a bunch of film festivals. And the Vegas Indie finalist, just a whole winner, a Bare Bones Festival, also official selection, San Antonio Film Festival, and a bunch of others. They join us right now. Out of the gates, I want to go to Holland first. Holland, I haven't even asked your opinion. I had Chris call you 8 o'clock last night, got you set up for the show. I don't know your view on this. I haven't heard what you've said about it. So I want to hear fresh. Give me your take on what you think's going on here.
Well, thank you, Alex, for having us on again. And when this event happened, this horrible event, I reserved judgment. I don't like to leap to judgment, but I must report that all indications that are at the very least many things are very fishy about this incident, and I do think that most likely it was a false flag attack. The timing could not be better for those trying to push a gun control agenda. They're trying to sign a major gun control treaty next week. There are so many correlations between this attack and the Tucson shooting of last year, the Jared Lee Loughner case, and I have been actually looking into that case a lot lately. Some of the work of Stephanie Sledge at the governmentrag.com. She's done some excellent work, and I do think that this probably is a false flag attack.
Well, I even forgot that. We've got to get Wayne Madsen on immediately. Wayne Madsen told me first about stuff that later came out, and, of course, he's former with the National Security Agency. He talked to a high-level federal informant that said that Rolls and Giffords, who were both pro-gun, were working on exposing Fast and Furious, and that definitely the shooter there was programmed Jared Loughner.